Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the new pack that they just added into Wizard101 this last night. Basically, we had an update last night with some cool little things. I'm still waiting on the patch notes. I would have made a video talking about the patch notes, but there isn't one yet, so I can't make a video on the patch notes. But we can make a video talking about the pack. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord. Appreciate everyone that joins the Discord, and I appreciate everyone that does subscribe or leave a comment on this video. It helps out with the algorithm tremendously, so do it, and I appreciate it. So let's go over the pack, and there's a certain reason why I'm in the arena, which you guys will find out. But the new pack that they added is called the Dark Jester's Hoard pack. $3.99 pack, and I know a lot of people are going to be asking, is the gear in here worth it or anything like that? And let me just tell you, before even watching this entire video, or even if you want to watch the entire video, the gear is the exact same as Wastelander. It is a one-to-one copy as Wastelander, and if you don't know what Wastelander is, we can pull it up real quick for you guys. It's this pack. This Wastelander pack has some pretty good stats on it for certain advanced combat stuff. Mainly people use the ring, from what I remember. Even I use the ring for a short period in advanced content because it gives a triangle socket, right? I mean, you lose out on that circle socket and some damage, but if you can make up the damage from other sources, it's not really a big deal, right? And specifically, I'm talking about for advanced content. In casual PvE, you're really not going to be using this gear. At most, the robe, at most, but that's if you want to be quirky, right? So it's the exact same thing as a Wastelander, but the only difference is that the item cards are slightly different, and of course the cosmetic is completely different. And I know you're probably looking at the perms and like, oh, are we gonna be floating like that? No, it's just glitched. This is basically how you're gonna look like on the ground, and every time you dash forward or you run forward or whatever, it turns you into an orb. So it's a cool cosmetic thing, but I just generally don't know the differences between these three, and I'm not going to be opening the pack in this video, just because I don't think it's worth opening this pack, and it really just comes down to cosmetics. The pets, you can obviously find people to hatch for. The pets do look cool, I will say that. They all come with a positive aura and a negative aura, and I guess that's the best way to put it. You get your school specific aura, ice, storm, whatever, and then you also get a different aura attached to it. For example, the ghostly gloamling, it comes with sleep storm, of course, and then whenever you level it up to, I believe, probably ancient or something, don't know the exact thing, but it does come with attenuate. So if you do want an item card attenuate, hey, I mean, it comes on this pet, and I believe there's two other pets in here. Let's quickly find them in this right here. The garish gloaming, I can't even pronounce this, but what it comes with is it comes with Starfall. So it comes with obviously the galvanic field, and then it comes with Starfall, which is a -15 negative aura that you can put on the enemy, of course. So it's basically just a weakness on them for the next 4 rounds, right? Unless they cover it or whatever. So that's a thing. And then the other pet, which is this one, the gloamling virulence, and then it comes with pathogen, so it's a -50% outgoing aura. So those are the 3 pets. It's up to you. They're not going to be casual PvE pets because there's no benefit to this realistically. The auras you can just train, so there's nothing that's item card heavy that I'm like, oh my god, this is actually cool, this is needed. But the pets are literally just pets that have auras on them. I don't know how viable they will be in PvP, but that is for the PvP players to decide, not me. So just for me, and maybe it just doesn't feel like that cool. I mean, unless you, I mean, I guess I really can see Attenuate being used more just because you get an extra item card compared to another player. So I mean, I can see that, but that's about it really. But when it comes to the gear, I'll quickly show it to you guys. The robe, you do get this little jester outfit. It's literally just the same exact look as the regular shadow jester, but you as a player. So you get the hat, robe, boots, and there's different colors as well. So there's a purplish one, a black one, and then I believe there's a white one I saw someone talking about. right here, yeah, you can see like there's different like colors to it, so that proves that you can't dye these just because since there's different color tones, which it's always a miss to me because I really wish that they would make some of this gear just straight up just dyeable. I don't like how you have to chase a specific color. Like, what if you like the white one, and it's like, oh well, you have to open the pack and try to get the white one versus just getting one of the robes and just color dyeing it. I feel like that is a missed opportunity on this pack 100%. But as I stated, with this gear, it's literally exact 1-to-1 copy as Wastelander. So that's one thing. And if you really care about Wastelander gear, you can just use the Umbra gear. The Umbra gear from the boss rematch vendor. So if you farm the Arc 2 boss rematches, and those consist of like the Arc 2 bosses, you know, like of course like Morganth and etc. Right? They all drop their own pieces of gear. You can farm the reagents and craft yourself some Umbra gear. So if you don't want to open packs, right, and if you just care about the stats, right, just specifically the stats, you can literally just use the Umbra gear from here. Now the only thing besides the being the same template and everything like that, there is different item cards on here. Now you could argue, hey, these have better item cards, but in my opinion, the item cards on both sets, Wastelander and the Jester set now, they are not the best item cards in my opinion. They don't really have the best. So for example, Wastelander hat for storms, we can use storm as an example, comes with a dissipate, so a dispel. This comes with the storm shield. Now I haven't had to use shields in advanced combat, right? Maybe for PvP players they appreciate the shields here on school, but me personally, when it comes to like challenge mode and everything like that, raids, you're not using the shield. You're just not. And then for the robes, for example, we can just use the life one, for example, but you know, we'll use a storm if anything. But the storm one for Wastelander comes with Spirit Diffuse. Now if we go to the storm one on here, I believe it should be on the next page. I remember it was the odd one out. Yeah, it comes with a Spirit Shield. Now I will say, out of the two, I would value the Spirit Shield a little bit more personally than the Spirit Diffuse. Now, you know, as a storm, you're not really going to be using that Spirit Diffuse, but I can see someone, you know, in advanced combat specifically, not PvP, for like PvE stuff like challenge and stuff like that, I can see the Spirit Shield just being a little bit more useful, because instead, if you don't want to pack a Spirit Shield inside, and if you are going to use a myth gen, so if you are cosplaying on your storm and doing myth stuff, the Spirit Shield is kind of useful because you can set up a myth gen, right? You don't have to use a treasure card, it doesn't take a treasure card slot, and you can put something else there. That's the only thing I can make an argument with these robes, other than the cosmetic stuff. But I mean, we can make arguments about cosmetic stuff anytime, right? But it just really comes down to personal preference, right? And then the boots, I believe, for storm come with an Ellie shield. Now the Wastelander boots, both the Umbra and the Wastelander, because those are both same stuff, those come with a elemental diffuse. So the elemental diffuse versus the Ellie shield, that is up to you. I mean, it could make the same argument like the shield is better and stuff like that, but most people are just using Reaver boots or Reaver boots or Avatar, because you know, those are just, everyone just uses those are just kind of better. But you can make an argument realistically for the item cards, but the main thing I do want to talk about out of the item cards is the wands. So the wands, specifically all of them, I mean, but we can go over the storm one just because since I've been going over the storm ones this entire time. Let's see, let's find the storm one real quick. There's too many items. This is the good thing about like doing these pack videos, because now I don't have to open the pack to showcase items. I can literally just inspect it and just give you guys my thoughts. But these wands, now I know it's like a jumble of stats. You're probably gonna be like, oh my god, these good. No, they're not that good stat wise. But the item cards, very interesting item cards, I will say. So Wastelander and Umbra gear has guidance, which basically you're never using. But those Wastelander and Umbra wands come with a mass storm trap and a mass trap, you know, according to your school. These Jester ones, specifically, you know, all of them, whatever, right? They come with the purge. Interesting, I will say so myself, but I feel like everyone should be learning purge by default. I don't think there's a reason why you shouldn't learn purge, because it's just a really good card. I wouldn't rely on a wand to give you purge, just because, you know, it's trainable, right? It's just better training it, in my opinion. You don't need the item card. I mean, I guess if you're low on training points, I can see the argument, but Purge is really not that hard to train. So I recommend just training Purge. I recommend it in my training point guide as well. But you do get a Stormblade, sorry. I'm recording this like super early, but you do get a Stormblade, and of course to your corresponding school you get a Blade. Now, depending on the item card stackability, you could make an argument for that Stormblade, but I'm gonna be honest, I still prefer the Umber ones, or like the Umber one slash Wastelander slash Headmaster, because Headmaster has the mass storm traps as well, but they all have the mass trap, right? I prefer the mass trap. Those are just better, so I don't think they did that really good on the wand item cards. I get where they were coming from with the Purge and stuff like that, but it's just not my cup of tea. Just because I'm gonna train it. I'm gonna train it by default, and I feel like everyone should train it. But this is what the wands look like. They all look like they don't have effects on them. Maybe it's because I don't have my particles on. That is possible, because I turn off my particles whenever I play Wiz, because it's too many things going on, especially when you're casting spells. But let me see. Maybe it looks a little bit different with me having more particles on. But yeah, it's just realistically Jester gear. You guys can see. I'll just quickly go over some of them, and then we can go over the robes real quick. Yep, there you go. There you go. And then yeah, the wands. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the wands. They're kind of meh. And then the themes are just the same thing as Wastelander. Boots we already went over. And then I believe the decks. The decks is one thing that we didn't go over yet, because those have an item card on it. And then amulets as well. So these decks come with Impair. Now, if we're comparing the two, technically the Impair is better. Wastelander, what it comes with is a guidance card. Now, you're not going to be using guidance. Realistically, I'm not even going to be using either of these decks. I'm just not. Like, they do have a triangle socket, but I prefer the circle socket. Unless it's like some very niche thing I'm doing, then I need the triangle socket, right? But out of the two item cards, if we're comparing it to Wastelander slash Umbra versus Jester Hoard pack, the Impair is technically better. You'll use the Impair more than you're going to use the guidance. Who's using guidance in the 2025? Let's be honest. Unless they make some weird fight that requires you to use guidance, then it's a separate topic, but I don't think that's going to happen. So there's that. And it's on the Impair is on every single deck. It's not just on Storm, it's on every single deck. So you guys can see right here, it's literally just a 1-to-1 copy of Wastelander. And then lastly, we can go over is the amulets. Now, the amulets on Wastelander, they give you a reshuffle and a Lightkeeper's Beam. Now, the Lightkeeper's Beam, which I will quickly interact with Raquel for, is a very nice card. Now, it's very underrated. I know some people look at this and they're like, I'm not using this, it's confusing, there's too much writing. But realistically is, if you are a storm casting spell, a life or death, you will give a blade to your allies. If you're in myth, ice, or fire, you'll give a trap to the enemies. And if you're balanced, it will like split the damage essentially between these and apply it as a blade and a trap. So Lightkeeper's Beam is good for stackability purposes. I specifically like using it on balance for advanced combat. It's very rare though, but I do like that card. It's a very interesting card. But when it comes to the amulets in here, you get a Blade Delusion and a Trap Delusion. Now, ever since this card has came out, I'll be honest, I haven't used it, because usually for PvE, usually for like PvE advanced combat stuff, right, like challenge and stuff like that, you're not really going to be using stuff like this, because, you know, Impair exists. Impair exists now, as well as I guess you can argue against the traps, but there's no reason to cut the traps in like half or something like that, whatever the trap is, right? If it's like a high value trap, I can probably understand why you're cutting it down to 20%, which I feel like that would be a good concept for a boss. If they make a boss that makes, you know, puts like high percentage traps on you, and, you know, maybe if you don't want to clear them, but you still have to keep the traps on you, maybe you can make Trap Delusion viable. I can see that happening in some point in the future, maybe, but realistically, you're not using these. You're not using these amulets. PvP players, you guys will probably have your own opinion on this, but I'll be honest, I don't even think I've seen any matches that have used Blade Delusion, Trap Delusion. I'll be honest. most people just choose clear over converting them into lower percentage traps. So there's that. The rings, of course, same exact template as Wastelander, so don't trip out about it. And then there's just a bunch of housing stuff. Like, this is basically what like the gear looks like, just as statue format. Other than that, there's nothing else that's like super insane that's in here that I'm like, oh my god, I should talk about. Other than just a bunch of like Umbra, like Chrysalis housing stuff. And then the mount, it doesn't give you stats or anything like that, so I wouldn't trip out about you having to open this pack. And that's realistically it from what it seems like. Oh, I guess the Shadow Magic banner wand is in here too. So I guess if you don't want to be buying the one that's in the crown shop, hey, it's in this pack, I guess. And the seeds, I guess I can quickly talk about the seeds. There's nothing that's like seed wise that's in here that's like you should gun for. I guess sword ferns are in here, but you can just straight up just farm those. There's no like couch potatoes, evil magma peas, none of that stuff is in here. Yeah, these seeds are kind of just meh. Yeah, they're all, but there is Moonblade TCs. I do want to mention that there is Moonblade TCs. I wish that they put the sun shields and everything like that in here, but they're probably saving that, like moon shield, sun shield. But yeah, that's still not in the packs. But that's basically my thoughts on this pack. It's kind of just like, if you want to open it at your own risk. Just because if you care about the stats, Raquel, literally you can just go here and do Arc 2 boss rematches and farm them. That is better if you just care about the stats. And honestly, the wands are better from here as well. The robe and boots, you can argue about the item cards because they're shields versus the dispels. You probably will use the shields more in advanced content to set up a myth gen, depending on your school, of course. I mean, some people are not going to like it, but some people are. But I feel like the robes and the boots is kind of hit or miss with the item cards. And then the amulet, not really using that in advanced content. And then the deck is slightly better because the item card you will use more than the guidance item card from here. So there's like that argument to be made. But you guys let me know your opinion on the pack down below. Yeah, I'm not going to open this pack. And if you want the pet just for collector's items, I usually just ask people for the pet just so I don't have to spend money on this pack. But hey, if you care about the cosmetic stuff, if you want to look like a jester, go for it. You know, this pack is for you. But there's nothing that's like game breaking in this pack. That's like it's like high value. It's nothing like Winter Witch pack. It is literally nothing like Winter Witch pack. So there's that. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.